Hey, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Public Coin in Tucson, Arizona. Thanks for joining me today here on my alternative coin channel, the one where we don't talk at all about coins, but we talk about just about everything else. Today's video is an interview with Coach Joan Bonvicini. I was really thrilled to have her on the program and get her first reaction to the young Wildcats. We've got a whole new team and a whole new coaching staff. So sit down and listen to some of her insights about what's coming ahead of us for the 2025-2026 season. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, and tell us what you'd like to hear about in the future. All right. And here we are with Coach Joan Bonvicini. Coach, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
We're going to jump right in. It's the beginning of the pack. See, look at me already going Pac-12. Old habits die hard. Basketball season's coming, whatever conference we're going to be in next.
Yeah.
And you had the pleasure of getting in and seeing one of the first practices open to anybody down at the U of A. And so first, I just want to ask you about what was the temperature like in the room? I don't mean heat. I mean, what's it like being in a Coach Burke run practice?
Um, well, my first impression, so I didn't know her prior to Becky getting hired as the head coach at Arizona, but she is intense, fun, high energy. And so generally, I mean, this is a general statement, with your teams, the team should reflect the coach and her personality or his personality. And I'll say they do. High energy, right away when I walked in. And I was in last week with Cindy Brunson, who's my broadcast partner. We do the games together for Big 12 home games for University of Arizona. And so we asked, and normally they allow me to go in, to be honest, Ben, but I asked actually for a couple weeks ago, and they wanted me to wait until they had a little bit more put in. But it's not like a regular practice, so I want to preface that because in the summer the NCAA only allows you 8 hours a week, where in the regular season it's 20. So their practice was only 1 hour. But the moment I walked in and the assistants came up to me and they asked me right away, as soon as I walked in, what my first impression was, and definitely high energy. That was definitely my feeling, and it stayed like that the entire time.
So with only an hour to observe, is this more of just drills and workout stuff versus like schemes and X's and O's?
It was team. It was not like individual workout. It was team. So everyone does it different, how you do your practices and workouts. Believe me, from coach to coach is very different. I haven't seen other teams' summer workouts. I've only seen Arizona's and my own for years. But I watched when Adia Barnes was there. I did go to summer workouts and seeing Becky's high energy, up tempo. She taught defense. This team, I'll just say this, and this is early. They're going to outwork you fast. There's not going to be like there's no five-star recruits on this team. So they're going to have to beat you with their collective willpower of high energy. There is definitely talent and skill, but they don't have a lot of height right now. And so they can get up and down. And they can get up and down. And this is another general statement, but I think it's pretty true. I think at any level, high school, college, pro, if you want to be in every game, you need to have good guards. Okay, good guards will keep you in any game, but posts will win you championships. They don't have the big posts right now.
Yeah.
And I even think that statement is changing with the style of basketball right now being run.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some teams really go far based on guard play. in the
Oh yeah.
last couple of years, more so than post play. And it's hard to get a Cameron Brink on your team, right? There's only so many of those. And even when the U of A, I mean, I give a lot of credit to when we had Kate Reese here because, even at 6'2", she commanded a double team all the time in the post, which is
Yeah.
crazy to me still when I see when we've had bigger players and they're like, no, no, we'll just have one person guard them. And so it's interesting to see what a double team will do to the other team. If they've got a double team, a post player, and you have a shooting guard,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, think of Iowa State when they came and played Arizona
yeah,
last year. So,
yes,
you have this great post player who really isn't that tall, Audi Crooks.
yeah,
She's 6'2", maybe 6'3". However, she commands attention. You have to double her or sometimes triple her, but she has outstanding shooters around her. And in that game a year ago, that's how they beat Arizona.
yeah. What was your first impression with the other coaches? Now, have you met um, Coach Odom or Ewing, or obviously I think you would know Julie
Yeah,
Haregrove,
well,
but
yeah. So um, I know Michelle Marciniak
okay,
pretty well.
she's the general manager, right?
She's the general manager, so how I know her, and I didn't remember this, but she obviously remembered. I recruited her. So I was just leaving my last year at Long Beach State, and I recruited her. You know, I don't remember everything. I didn't go into her house, but she remembered and she liked me. And she's told me that a few times. But yeah, so Michelle, everyone remembers her playing at Tennessee for Pat Summitt and winning the national title. But actually, Michelle was the number one player coming out of high school. And actually, she didn't sign to Tennessee right away, played a year at Notre Dame and had to sit out and transferred, and then played for Pat Summitt, won a national championship, and she was MVP. And I got to know her a little bit afterwards. She played at the old ABL, which was a pro league for women, and then WNBA when I was coaching at Seattle University, and she was actually playing with the Seattle Storm. And I watched a lot of their games. I was good friends with the owners. And so I would go to practices and watch games. And yeah, so Michelle and I got to know each other. So when she came back into this role as general manager, which is a new role in college basketball, and some schools have it and some don't. So this is the first time that I'm aware that Arizona's had this. And she basically, her role and that she shared with me is basically she does the majority of the hiring, assistant coaches, obviously with the head coach's approval, with Becky's approval, and support staff. And so, and she raises money NIL.
Right.
And she's allowed to, I didn't know this part until very recent. She actually coaches on the floor.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't know that. So, and she has coached before. She was an assistant at South Carolina for a number of years prior to Dawn Staley.
do a lot of coaches, and specifically you can speak to this coaching staff, do they have, I know in football there's like the offensive coordinator and
Yeah.
defensive coordinator. Is it common for college basketball coaches to have someone who's really their defensive person and their offensive person, or is it more of posts and guards, or how does the coaching staff kind of function as a group?
So that's a pretty general statement, and it's a really good question, Ben. So how do you do it? Everyone does it different. So I remember I didn't have one person on defense, one person on offense. You know why? Is because I'm responsible for everything.
Right.
So, I mean, when they, at the end, they have wins and losses, well, it's under my name. Okay. So I wanted to have that, I wanted to be responsible for that. Did I have people who worked with posts and guards? Yes, I did. But I had the ultimate decision. Now, there's other programs who do have defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators. So let's go back to Becky now. I'll tell you the voice I heard the most was Becky's.
Okay.
For 1 hour. For 1 hour, she did all the teaching. Other coaches were there on the sideline, and she has some really good coaches. Um, but Becky was the one who taught. Becky was the one who drew things up for the players on the clipboard, and they executed a play. But she, was her voice. So I don't think right now that she has that, and she may down the road, but at this point she doesn't.
Do you think for a coach, how much of their own personality are they bringing in? How much of their training of their previous coaches? So, in other words, is Luke Skywalker teaching something that he learned from Yoda? So, when you're coaching or when Becky's coaching, I
Yeah,
mean, I know all about how she has her own persona and how that comes out.
yeah,
Saw it with Adia. I know I've heard you talk about having your own persona and that translating.
yeah.
Also, if you think about it, how much of your voice when you coach comes from your previous coaches?
Well, I think that question and how I would answer it depends on your experience with those previous people. Um, I can tell you for me, because I played a long time ago, but I played very high level. My coach had a college coach had a really strong influence on me. Up tempo, like we were way beyond. So I played in three Final Fours, way beyond her years, way ahead. And she's in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, Louise O'Neill. So in my case, it had a big impact. In Becky's case, she played for a very good program and played in the national championship game as a point guard at Louisville. And I believe they lost to UConn. I don't remember the year. I was at that Final Four. Um, and so I think it makes a difference. But I think Becky, she has a certain style right now. Underdog, that's how she was at her other schools. And, let's look at her last job at Buffalo, won the WNIT, won over 30 games. Um, and she hasn't gone the NCAA's at Division One. She did 1 year, I believe, at Division Two. But I think that's what her style is going to be right now. But basketball has changed overall in the last 10 years. Players are much more, they just go in and out, different positions. You have post players shooting threes and guards posting up, and, it's five out players instead of being in certain areas. So I think that can change, but her overall demeanor and her team's demeanor will be high energy, tough defense. I don't want to say pressing, but just tough defensively.
Well, I know that a lot of people are, I'll speak for all of Arizona fans as an Arizona fan. We got used to some underdog defensive mentality.
Right.
I think the one thing that we were all eternally frustrated with was the offense.
Hmm.
And so I'll be really intrigued to see um, what she brings offensively with this team. From your perspective, did you see anything that feels like, oh, this is definitely going to be a different product on the floor?
Um, well, so again, I was only there for an hour. That's all they practice. Okay. So they generally do that probably twice a week, maybe three times a week, and then some individual work. But that also 8 hours includes weight training.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
the players can do things on their own. They do pickup, they do shooting, and they stayed afterwards, and we had to head out. But yeah, so it's a little different. I did not see true breakdowns offensively
Sure.
where they were doing team offense. I'll just say it was up tempo.
Up tempo.
Like when they got they're on defense, they got a rebound, they went out and scored fast break full court. That's what they were trying to do. Yeah, and I understand. I mean, I'm a coach, but I'm also a fan, and to be very transparent, you're in the entertainment business. I mean,
Yeah.
people are paying money to buy tickets. They want to be entertained. They want you to win, but they want to be entertained when they're watching. And so, you want to be, to me, and I think that's how you get good players too is you want to be up tempo. And that's what I feel. You want to be up tempo. You want to score quickly if you can, shoot the three, whatever. It's different. I mean, it's more players' positions are interchangeable. But I've always felt when I signed a really good player, I want and one of the reasons they play for me because they knew I was going to let them go. I don't mean just wide open, but I was going to let them use their real ability to get up and down and score.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the fans enjoy that more.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think most fans will take a Tommy Lloyd over a Sean Miller in theory, right? Like
Yeah.
visually, they don't want to see a grinded out
No, no.
you,
But you want the
player.
wins and you want to advance when you get to postseason. So it's a fine line, you know. It's a fine line and it's you know, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this is the thing when you're in that chair, and I know exactly when you're the head coach, there's a lot of decisions, and so you feel the pressure. There's no question there's a lot of pressure. However, you know, people would always ask me, particularly assistants and head coaches from other schools, and they still do it now. And they always say to me, "Well, Joan, how do you build a great program?" And I'd say, "Okay, you ready? Write this down." And I said, "Are you ready?" And they say, "Yeah." And then they get mad when I say, "Get good players," because I mean, you can only coach people up so much.
Yeah.
I mean, you have good players, but I'm going to tell you with Becky and going back here to now, like none of these players she has were really highly recruited. I mean, none of them that I'm aware of, and none of them. Maybe there's one. Let me look from New Orleans. She was Nora Francois,
Yeah.
no relation to the head coach. She scored 30 when they played Baylor this year.
Yeah.
Last year, excuse me, last year.
Yes,
So,
last year.
you know, I think collectively, you know, when you in basketball is a team game, you have this collective energy. I'll tell you the other thing that was very noticeable to me in this practice, and Ben, I've been to thousands of practices, my own, watching other people, pro practices. She did something, and it's very small but very impactful. I have never seen anyone do. And so what it was it? And it was important when the players were standing listening, which is a lot during practice at times, if you're not involved in the drill. So she was teaching defense. She had practice players, and let's say there were five Arizona players doing this. The other players, when they were standing, they had to touch one another,
Mhm.
whether that was interlocking arms, whether they had an arm on another one's shoulder, whatever they were doing. And, you know, and this is also a general statement, but it was very noticeable to me. Usually, and I'm not speaking for myself and other people's practices, there's always one kid or two kids, they're just not fully engaged. I'll just say it like that. Whether they're not paying attention, that was not at all true. Every player was in that moment, fully engaged, watching, listening. And that thing about touching each other, it's a trust issue, and that they're all in it together. And it was a very powerful thing because after practice, well, at the end of practice, they have, you know, every coach has a circle, they bring them in. They brought us in and talked a little bit, and they asked us to speak each, both myself and Becky, I mean, myself and Cindy Brunson. And then we did a cheer, and then we did a picture. Um, and then they asked each player to come talk to us individually. And then to be honest, most kids, hey, you know, I'm so and so, I'm from here. It wasn't like that. They were definitely interested in us. They were I asked questions. I mean, that's what I do. I mean, I'm very
Mhm.
inquisitive. I
Yeah.
asked questions. They were very engaged, very, very engaged, but they all had a similar message. And the similar message is why they're there. They came to Arizona because of Becky. They came to Arizona because of the style she plays, the way she coaches. Every single player, and I met everyone, said the same thing, and it wasn't like a thing they memorized. This was them speaking from their heart. Whether they were a transfer or coming from high school, like there's a couple kids, and I'm embarrassed, but they're freshmen, had committed to Buffalo
Hmm.
and now we're coming to Arizona. But every kid said, I transferred from here, but I liked my high school coach and she coaches like them,
Yeah.
you know. So it was a very interesting and powerful statement watching and listening.
Well, I haven't got to meet Coach yet in person. They've had a couple of events, and I went to meet and greet and talk to some of the players, and didn't meet Coach. But I definitely get that sense that that what is that players coach kind of mentality that
Yeah.
the kids really like the energy and like the commitment and like the passion. And I think that they're definitely all in on that. So we'll see what happens. So last question about practice. What was there anything for you that stood out like player wise? And I don't expect you to remember everyone's names and stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Two
but
guards. There were a
are,
couple guards
mhm,
that stood out. One was a transfer from Buffalo. She's little, Noelani Cornfield.
mhm.
She's good. And then there's another one. I didn't see the player from Spain. She hadn't come back yet. Um, let's see. There's one from San Diego.
Yes, I'm excited about her.
Yeah, she's a good player.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
pretty good. She played at UCSD, but she went to La Jolla Country Day,
yeah.
um, and played with now Jada Williams
Mhm.
and what's her name? I forget them already. Brea Cunningham.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Um, this other kid, Cameron Kitchen from
yeah.
Virginia.
Yes.
She's pretty good, and Michaela Purdue. Those guys all those guards are pretty good, and they're going to help them. Where, like I said, where they need to compete, like you need, and here's the other thing, the little thing, but huge. For this time of the year, I was crazy impressed how they boxed out really well. Like the
Makes me
other
so
team,
happy.
yeah,
Yeah.
boxed out really well. So, I mean, you have to, these are little things. So she's attention to detail. But for this point of the year, it was incredible how well they do fundamentals very well.
So, what should the U of A fan expect this year to see on the court after your
Um,
whole hour of experience with the team?
High energy,
Yeah.
up tempo, team basketball. There will be players who stand out. I'd say right now the guard play. It's hard for me to say in the half court because you got to have good because I have didn't see it. I can't answer that right now. However, she has a offensive guru on her staff, and that's Julie Haregrove,
Hmm.
Julie Brazzi, who I coached. But Julie, I want to say she coached 18 years in the WNBA, right around there. She was assistant at Loyola Marymount for a couple years prior to that. Julie, obviously, her DNA, she's Lute Olson's granddaughter. As a player, they asked me, like the other assistants asked me what she was like to coach right away. High basketball IQ, excellent shooter, and a great teammate. Those are the things how I would describe Julie. Obviously, when you're in the WNBA and you're coaching the GOAT, greatest of all time, Diana Taurasi, for many years, um, she had Brittany Griner, and I don't know if she coached Griner per se, but Duana Bonner, was there for a couple championships, and she worked for a number of head coaches. When you have that experience and you watch and you're around the best players to ever play, and not only you coach them, but you watch their demeanor and how they handle things, that obviously helps you as a coach. So hopefully, Becky leans in a little bit to Julie in her offensive mind.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to the year, and I think that the little bit that I can parse together just between speaking with you and some other people that have seen practice and watching some Instagram stuff, yeah, I'm gonna keep my, how would I say, my wins and losses expectations a little bit tampered because I know what the Big 12 is like.
Hmm.
Also, I'm looking forward to just seeing the growth of the team. This is sometimes, what you can just hope for the most is just to see the growth and just
Well,
see
I
how
would
they
just
continue to
say,
improve.
and I'm being obviously positive, I think they'll definitely win more than they lose.
Oh yeah,
Be
good, good.
because I think they're going to be a team no one likes to play against.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that's a good thing.
all right, guys. Thanks for being here today. As always, like, share, subscribe, and go ahead and leave comments down below and let me know what you'd like to hear us talk about in the future.